A short time later, we learn it would have been better to look here from the beginning, 15 kilometers in a direct line from the summit. While we had been climbing around in the crevasse down in the valley, two Americans were examining an earth formation that looked like the outline of a ship. The contours of the ship's body are of a harder material than the surrounding soil and are therefore prominent. Shortly before these shots were taken, work was in progress here.
The site was first identified in 1959 by a Turkish army captain. He was studying photographs that were shot in 1958 in a NATO reconnaissance of the area. This is a reproduction of that photograph that he identified. He observed this distinctly boat-shaped object that was in a mud flow that had come down from a higher elevation. This picture was published in the Turkish newspapers, also in the United States. There was an expedition that went over the next summer, the summer of 1960, and spent 2 days investigating the site. They failed to find any obvious artifacts, so the story that they gave the press was that they felt it was only a natural formation. Nevertheless, this particular article appeared in Life magazine in the United States, went into millions of American homes, and it was widely known back in 1960. Amazingly, however, to our knowledge, there was no one who returned to this site until Mr. Wyatt and his two sons went there in 1977.
Ronald Wyatt of Madison, Tennessee in the United States did not believe that this marked, regular formation could have been created by nature.
We first went out to the site in 1977, and we basically just measured it and looked at it carefully. We applied to the Turkish authorities for excavation rights, and they said maybe later. Anyway, fortunately, there was an earthquake in December of '78. Now, I understand that no one actually got killed in the earthquake, so that's why I use the term fortunately. It did do a marvelous job on excavating this object. Everything that was surrounding this object, the mud flows, the ancient lava flow that was under the mud flow, fell away. And this exposed some of the timbers. I was able to get some small samples of material, also some material that turned out to be very high metal content and high carbon content. We got a carbon-14 dating of 5,700 years plus or minus 200 years, which falls right close into the range of the time setting for the flood. So we applied for permits, and we have taken metal detection equipment, and we have found metal lines all along this boat at even intervals. We have found right-angled material on the boat. It's not a mock-up of what other people thought Noah's Ark would look like. Otherwise, it could probably be in the valley where it's more convenient to get to, or else way on top of a mountain to impress people, and it would be 450 feet long. So the fact that it is where it is and the dimensions it is says that it is the authentic Noah's Ark.
The results of the two researchers were so explosive that immediately they became known, the Turkish government closed off the area. These shots were taken secretly with a powerful telescopic lens. This shot was taken from a hill a few hundred meters away. The expert can see that material in the surrounding area is of a loose type. The whole area at this point consists of a layer of mud. It appears that the ship slid here together with the mud from a position higher up. Here we can see the whole object from the lower side of the hull peak. In the background, the mountains are visible between which the ship may once have lain before it started to slide downwards as a result of an earthquake. The other end of the hull. The contours of the side walls are clearly visible. These were uncovered by the earthquake a few years ago. The people in the foreground make the dimensions involved clear. It's impossible for the side walls to represent a natural phenomenon. John Baumgardner determined, with the help of a metal detector, that there was metal at regular intervals in a ship's wall. It is probably the remains of fastening material used to hold the ship's planks together. Using the same method, researchers have also detected metal in the base of the ship's construction. They marked each point at which the metal detector reacted and connected these points to one another using plastic strips. To their surprise, this resulted in a regular system of lines. The strips run lengthwise and crosswise. They run together at both peaks. The objects being measured here may have been deck planks. The analysis of a sample taken from this point showed 90% ferrous oxide. Rust is the only thing which remains of these iron angle supports which were here once. The purpose of the angle supports was to connect the deck to the ship's wall. A modern metal detection device made this sensational discovery possible. They are the most important results of the expedition. Only after excavation of the object will it be possible to obtain further information. Neither Wyatt nor Baumgardner have as yet been able to obtain excavation rights from the Turkish authorities.
Zu sehen ist ja eine elliptische oder auch
An elliptical or ship-shaped type of earthwork can be seen, which may have been created naturally, but which may also have been created by man. This will have to be determined through excavation.
entstanden ist. Dieses wäre durch entsprechende Grabung zu prüfen.
Has the expedition found traces of Noah's Ark? Are these lines sufficient to prove that the ship, which was described in the Bible, is lying here? At the place where Fenon Navarra found his ark, we could find no traces. We have filmed this spot in the valley where the Turkish government will carry out an international excavation in 1986. Only then will we know if the search for Noah's Ark will continue, or if Ararat will continue to keep its secret.